Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. If you're watching this early in the morning. All right. This is to compensate the class we missed the other day because, I wasn't feeling that well. Right. It was on a Monday and it affected the DIA 4B students, right? Okay, so that is why I made up my mind to record a video, right? And this will be shared with students from DIA 4A as well. All right, so in our session today, we'll talk about minutes of a meeting. There are, like, I think you already know by now that in meetings, right, there is a thing called documentation, and there are three types of documents that are related to meetings. Number one, it's notice, okay. Number two, agenda, and the last one is what we are going to discuss today, which is minutes. So, what is minutes? Definition of minutes is it's an official written record of a meeting. The basic purpose of minutes of meeting is to provide a brief authoritative account of the meeting and of the decisions reached. Okay. The minutes provide the grounds for taking action and record a history of transactions for future reference. The minutes, therefore, need to be authentic, complete, accurate, factually correct, and free from any vagueness. Or, in other words, must be clear. Okay, must be clear from any vagueness. So that is basic definition of minutes. Okay, brief, authoritative account of the meeting and the decisions reached. Okay, so meaning to say that the minutes or the things that the secretary will be typing or writing in minutes should be straight to the point, right? Should not contain any what you call as flowery language. Okay, is also an authoritative account, meaning to say that if it's really true, whatever has been documented or recorded in the minutes is true, right, then it has some sort of power, right? Meaning to say that if it's recorded in the minutes, then it must be done. If it's recorded in the minutes, it means that it must be followed. Okay, that's why we have the expression authoritative account. Okay, and of course, in meetings, there will be discussions related to issues, problems, and to tackle the problems, right? People in the meeting, they would put forward their suggestions as to how to deal with the problem or how to solve the problem. So after discussions, after some lengthy discussions, in order to have only one decision, then maybe a voting session is required, right? So at the end of the voting session, there must be a decision whether one particular solution is okay or not okay to be considered to solve a problem, right? So decision taken based on how many people agree or disagree with a solution or a project, something like that, right? Sometimes we will use the majority. Okay, if the majority of people in the meeting voted in favor of option A instead of option B, then people in the company, in the club, will have to follow, will have to use option A, right? That is if majority voted for A, right? If, for example, let's say every single person in the meeting voted for A, right? Then we call that unanimous, UNANIMOUS, unanimous. Am I spelling it right? I hope so. Unanimous means everyone is in favor of something. Everyone voted for something. Every single person. Okay, unanimous. Okay, so that is more or less related to the first paragraph, right? The second paragraph, office discussions at a meeting are lengthy and sometimes repetitive. The secretary, when writing the minutes, must go over the notes she has made during the meeting and select and summarize important points so that discussion is presented in a clear and concise form, right? So, yeah, in a discussion, in a meeting, right, it might there might be lots of things that will be said, right? And sometimes the things that will be said are going repetitive, meaning to say that people or the person saying it over and over again, mentioning more than once, right? Sometimes meetings can last for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes up to 5, 6 hours, maybe. So the secretary's job is, of course, very difficult, right? She has to write down notes, and if the things that are being said are repetitive, right? These things that are being said are very lengthy, very long. It doesn't mean that the secretary must put every single thing in the minutes, right? If like for a 2-hour meeting, if the secretary has to put everything that has been said in the minutes, well, the minutes will look like a thesis, 100 pages, for example. That is, of course, ridiculous, right? So the secretary will have to look at her notes, right? Make sure that what she will be writing or typing in her minutes will be the important things, the gist, GIST, or the main ideas of everything, right? So, yeah, we have to really salute the secretary because she's the one person who can really summarize things, select only important points to be put in the minutes, right? Not every single thing, okay? Okay, so in practice, with the consent of the board of members present at the meeting, the minutes are often taken and to be read at the next meeting, and a motion is put to recommend their adoption as a true and record of the previous meeting. The approval merely verifies the accuracy of the recording of the minutes. Errors discovered in the minutes at the subsequent meeting are dealt with formally, and if there's doubt as to their accuracy, an amendment may be put to the motion and for the adoption. If the amendment is carried, the alteration must be made. Generally, the alteration can be made. No alteration, can be made after the chairman has signed the minutes as a true, accurate, or correct record of the previous meeting. Okay, like maybe I hope you guys still remember. I did say to all of you that minutes can only be signed by the secretary, right? The chairman or the president or the person in charge of a meeting, right? He should not, or he must not sign minutes, right, until after the next meeting. He can only sign the minutes, right, in the next meeting, right? So before the next meeting, the chairman or the person in charge of a meeting is not allowed to sign minutes. Okay, well, let's say all of us are in the second meeting, right? and the secretary has already produced minutes from the first meeting, okay, secretary can sign that minutes from the first meeting. Chairman cannot sign. Okay, so in the second meeting or in the next meeting, the minutes from the first meeting will be discussed, right? If there are some corrections, some errors, the corrections or errors will be highlighted, right? It will be corrected, or the error, whatever the error is, will be corrected. If everything is okay, then only then the chairman can sign minutes from the first meeting or the previous meeting, right? If, for example, there's no correction, well, the chairman can just sign the minutes from the previous meeting. Okay. Now, it is important to take note that as soon as the chairman has signed the minutes from the previous meeting, no other alteration or correction can be made. It means that once it's signed, it is finalized, that is a true record of what has been discussed in the previous meeting. Okay. Right, so that is the first part in our session today, general introduction to minutes. Okay.